when this topic was discussed with me, the first thought that came to mind was what was the advice that I have been given, which I hold dear. And two things came to my mind, both from my grandmother, one who told me decades ago that I can go and conquer the world if I want to, I just have to put my heart to it. And the second piece of advice also from her saying, I would need to watch my weight for the rest of my life, given the genes that I have. And the second part, of course, is what would I say to my girls? I'm a mother of two young girls. What would I say to them? A lot of the same that we are perhaps in agreement with as parents, whether it's boy or girl. Believe in yourself, love yourself for who you are. I would have to tell my girls to watch their weight too, given my genes. But along with that, I would tell my girls about key moments that have shaped us, shaped me in particular. Nirbhay or Jyoti Singh, how we all walked together, marched together. The story of, say, a Soni Sori, or transgender Lakshmi, who's gone on to write her own book, which has been so well received. So there's just so much that all of us can bring to the table when it comes to what we can do with our daughters and all the advice that we were given and how we would tweak that for generations ahead. Let me get started right away. Very fortunate to have a stellar panel right here. Let me start by introducing them. Justice Leila Seth, India's first woman Chief Justice, someone who needs no introduction. My other guest, Farooq Saab, Farooq Abdullah, we just heard him, one of India's most flamboyant and well-loved politicians. Nidhi Dubey, Country Director, Girl Rising India Campaign for Girls' Education. There's Raghu Rai, one of India's leading photographers. You are familiar with his work, even if sometimes people can't connect the face to the work. And last but not the least, Aarti Devi, Sarpanch, and in fact, one of India's youngest Sarpanches. Thanks all so much for taking our time to be with us today. Leila Seth, ma'am, if I could just say to you, to all these girls sitting here, these women sitting here, and all the others who will hear you, if there's one thing that you would say to finish the sentence, listen up, girls, what would it be?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, but be aware. That's very important. Because, of course, you need good education not to be afraid. And you need to be aware because the world is not a simple place where you can go anywhere without fear. But do what your heart tells you to do. Listen to it. And don't worry if your parents tell you to go a different way.
Right.
Listen to yourself.
Right.
Be confident and listen to yourself. But look it through because you must know the consequences. I think that's really what the message I would give you. Just don't be afraid.
Right. Follow your heart. That's something you would agree with, Farooq Saab, wouldn't you, entirely?
Yes, I would agree with it, but I'd also say, aim high. You can achieve if you want to achieve that. There's nothing that will stop you. But have faith in God and have faith in yourself.
Right.
If you have these two things, you will conquer.
Right.
Good luck.
If I could just ask you here, sir, very quickly, what is the one piece of advice that you believe that you've given your daughters that's held them in good stead? And with the wisdom of hindsight, the one thing that you did not tell them,
I told
that you
them
wish
very
you had.
frankly, think well and do exactly what you feel you want to do.
Right. Right.
Don't be afraid, as her lordship has said,
Right.
that
Right.
we must never be afraid.
Right.
And think before you leap.
Think
That's all
before
I
you
said.
leap.
That's all about it.
Right. So listen to your heart, but think before you leap.
Yes.
So do think it out somewhere.
You have to think. You
Right.
can't just jump blindly.
Right.
You have to think.
Right. Right. Raghu Rai, as someone who's sort of seen India's daughters, India's women through his lens, and is also the father of young girls, what is the one thing that you believe that your daughters ought to take, or the one message from you that you believe that your daughters ought to carry to become the kind of people that you hope they do?
Well, that one message needs a larger connection. That first thing, connect, listen, and absorb. And then see what your heart tells you. It's simple. Basically, that's what we all need to do, and this is how we can live vibrantly. And there are many examples, of these young little ladies, where they express themselves with such a strength and clarity because they've been living like this.
Really, there are lots of people who would say that the one advice that people were given decades ago is not always what you can give a generation that's going to sort of be coming into its own, say, 2 decades from now. What is the one thing that you would tweak, or what has changed?
I think, we keep talking about, and what I completely agree with everyone, that's saying that we really need to follow our passion, and I think that's really important. Dream big, nothing's going to stop you. You can do anything that you want to. I would just add that, do it with conviction. Just believe in yourself, because, be part of the change that you want. Create that change. Don't wait for others to make it happen, because we're just part of that journey. So just go out there, and you are going to be an important stakeholder in making that change.
Make that change. And someone who's done that is Aarti. Aarti, आप उनमें से हैं जिन्होंने पॉलिटिक्स में अपना जो काम कर रहे थे छोड़ के पॉलिटिक्स में इन्वॉल्व हो गए. जब आपने ये किया तो घर पे क्या रोज लोगों को समझाना पड़ता था कि मुझे ये करना है, मुझे ये करने दीजिए? यहाँ सब बोल रहे हैं फॉलो योर हार्ट. सोच लीजिए, बट फॉलो योर हार्ट. जो दिल में है वो करिए. बट रियलिटी आपके लिए कैसी थी?
मैं पहले जॉब करती थी बैंक में, लेकिन जिस सोसाइटी को मेरा ज़रूरत है मैं अभी उसी सोसाइटी में काम कर रही हूँ. इन माय ओपिनियन ऐसा नहीं है कि हमको लड़का जैसे बनना है. जैसे सन का एक एनर्जी है, हवा का एक एनर्जी है, ऐसे औरत का भी एक एनर्जी है. इसी एनर्जी को हमको यूटिलाइज करना है और आगे बढ़ना है. इसलिए मैं मेरे गांव में सारे औरत को लेकर मैं काम कर रही हूँ और आगे बढ़ रही हूँ. इन माय ओपिनियन देयर इज नो डिफरेंस बिटवीन द बॉयज़ एंड गर्ल्स. इन माय पंचायत आई ऑल्सो इम्प्लीमेंट दिस थिंग्स को. मैं इस चीज़ को मैं मेरा पंचायत में इम्प्लीमेंट कर रही हूँ. और स्वतंत्र महिला ग्राम सभा में बुलाती हूँ और काम करती हूँ, क्योंकि हमारा राज्य में 50% रिजर्वेशन दिए हैं वुमेन के लिए. तो उसको आगे लेने के लिए महिला को आगे आना है. इसलिए मैं स्वतंत्र महिला ग्राम सभा करती हूँ और उसी हिसाब से जिस क्षेत्रों में एजुकेशन और स्वास्थ्य और एक्चुअल वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट ग्रामांचल की ज़रूरत है को वहाँ के मैं काम कर रही हूँ और उसी हिसाब से मैं आगे बढ़ रही हूँ.
जी, और ऐसी स्टोरीज है जो बहुत और लड़कियों को इंस्पायर करेंगी इस देश में. Just to say, the cynics would say that for all the talk around women's empowerment, there's, on the ground, the stories are still very horrific. We are still a society where revenge against men in a family is still taken through their women, whether it's rape or acid attacks. So how much has really changed? You have seen 21 years ago the situation, you're seeing the present, and you will see the future as well. Where do you believe we are? Is the glass half full, half empty?
I think that the laws have changed. I see for myself, I'm 85 years old, so I've seen a lot. And I can see that the laws have changed, but the mindsets have not changed. And, it's a slow process, changing mindsets. And unless we change mindsets, we're not going to get a real change on the ground. Because eventually it's the implementation of law. How do you implement it? It's the way people are, it's not something that will happen overnight. And I think for that you need education. And that's why I'm very keen that children, right from the start, when they, in nursery school, from there onwards, they should be taught that there's equality everywhere for girls and boys.
Right.
They should know that there's to be no difference between them. And it's parents and teachers who have to do that,
Right.
So unless you put it in their minds from then,
Right.
it's not going to happen easily.
Right.
So I think that's the lesson, You have to start there.
Right. And that's something that you did, Farooq. Of course, many would say that, more liberal and broad-minded families tend to do that. But did you ever have to reconcile the family, the home that you were bringing up your girls in, to the more conservative society that existed outside the boundaries of the house?
Yes, there is India is still conservative. There is no doubt about it. We still do not want the women to rise to the level where the man will feel inferior. That's unfortunate. It is there. And you can see, even today's paper, where the young lady was burnt. After 3 years or something, she went home. And her brother didn't accept her marrying somebody out of the caste. And these things are happening in the world, all over. And more so in the communities of India. And this will take time to change. It will change. There is nothing that will not change. But it hasn't come to that stage. That man must now realize that he has to give her that space, which is for her. See, we are incomplete without women. There is no doubt about it. But if we still feel we are God Almighties, and they are down there, that has to change. If India has to move forward, and India has to grow to being the most important nation in the world, then the women's empowerment is very, very important. Right from the grassroots people to the highest sector. That doesn't exist as yet. That will take time. But we must continue to fight. The women's empowerment started somewhere in 1911. And still we are not reached that stage where we would like to see them is equal. By making a lady president or making her a speaker,
the tokenism.
It's a tokenism. It is nothing much. Unless the very grounds, realities change for the future of these women.
Raghu Rai, sir, when you look at your daughters, when you talk to your daughters, and how do you believe they see you? Because there are lots of parents, who sort of always wonder, how do our children see us for all the talk and all that we have learned?
I'll give you a very nice little incident. Speak Mackay, they ask us to go to schools and colleges to speak to young minds. So, once I was asked to go to Nainital to speak to high school girls. So my wife told my daughter, Purvai, who was just 9 years of age, why don't you go with Papa? He's going to Nainital, beautiful hill station. You can have a holiday with Papa. So for 3-4 days, we drove around, we did boating, everything, sightseeing. And on the 4th day, I had to talk to the students. So this little girl, 9 years old, she also came in. She sat at the end of the class quietly. I didn't even notice. So after an hour and a half of talk and interaction, this child, 9 years old, comes to me and very softly she tells me, Papa, you spoke very well. And the way she said was so delightful and so genuine. I said, thank you, baby. So I said, my day is made.
Right.
So after a few months, I was asked to go somewhere else. And my wife tells Purvai, why don't you go with your Papa? She says, oh, Mama, give me a break. I have heard him once.
That's enough.
I loved it.
Never again.
Which means the child was so alert, connected, and absorbed everything. Right. She doesn't want to hear anything more again from this father who speaks the same language at the end of the day. So, these are the examples, where I say, wow, these children are so amazing.
So did you then end up tweaking your talk, the second talk? It was not a copy-paste of the first one. Did you end up changing that?
Sorry?
Did you end up changing the talk, the second talk that you were going for?
Now I make sure, that, when I look at the, the energy and the feeling of the people, then I try to respond accordingly,
Right.
Because that's what I learned from her.
Right.
Enough.
Right.
And no more.
Right. Nidhi, as someone who's working with girls' education, there are all those who would argue that education can only take us so far. It's very, very important, the point that I'm also made, but it can only take us so far. What about the entire ecosystem when you step out of those classrooms, that learning? Where is the space to implement that? And that's the kind of real change that we're talking about and still lacking.
No, I agree. I don't think education alone can empower, but I do want to emphasize on the significance of it just for a moment, because, let's just look at some statistics. 200 million women are illiterate in our country. 3.7 million girls are out of school today. And we know, strategic development goals have set it out that if every girl gets 12 years of school education, it can actually bring down child marriages, early birth, under 5 mortality. So we know the benefits of it. We know that, Lawrence Summers, the former World Bank chief, says that investing in girls' education is the smartest investment that one can make today. While that being said, I completely agree. I think we have to look at holistic growth, which is, mental, social, physical, emotional growth, and that will actually help our boys and girls equally to be part of society building more equitable society in a more, democratic and more humanistic way. So I definitely think it's overall and not just limited to education itself.
Right, fair enough. Farooq sir, do you have any such example like Raghu
See,
Rai
I'd like
sir
to
gave?
just tell all these people that I went to the Agriculture University, Sri Kashmir Agriculture University, about 2 days ago. And I asked them, what is the proportion of women to men in this institution? They said 40% are girls and 60% are boys. I told them, I saw these people somewhere in pisciculture, somewhere in agriculture, somewhere in horticulture, somewhere in floriculture. It's fine. They will get their degrees. But have we ever thought, what are they going to do with these degrees unless we create avenues for them? And that is where empowerment will come. Just mere education is not enough. What the governments now and people who have ideas about it should sit down and start thinking that here we've got this batch of people, what is their future?
Beyond
All
just
are
getting
going to be
those
employed.
degrees,
All
right.
are going to be employed in the government. So are we creating avenues for them so that they can stand on their feet? Otherwise, just mere degrees are no use. And that is where we are slipping. And this is what governments must start thinking, and other institutions must start thinking. How do we channelize their future while they have these huge degrees, PhDs and all these things? And that we are not doing. Then how do you empower women? They'll still be dependent tomorrow when they marry. They'll have a degree, they'll marry, and the husband will be working. She'll still be a housewife, not contributing in any other way for that house to get better.
Right.
This is something we are slipping on.
Right.
And I hope that in this discussion that we are having here, and people that are here, will start thinking as to what do we do?
What next?
What
right.
next?
What
Yes.
next? Right.
Not only in agriculture, in IITs, in all these things.
Across the
we
board.
have, across the board,
Right.
we have to start thinking.
Right. What do you believe, ma'am, is the biggest challenge that we're looking at?
I think there should be professional education, not just. I know my mother was 35 years old when my father died. There were 4 children. I was 11 years old and my brother was 9. She had no training to do anything. There was no money because in those days she got a small provident fund. There was no pension. And so we literally lived off friends, scholarships, and some family. But she said education is the most important thing.
Right.
And somehow she squeezed herself and with friends' help, she educated us. And we are today where we are because of that education she gave us. And she pushed us, and we realized, therefore I think every girl should not only get a degree, degrees are these days, should have a
Not so
professional qualification.
Right.
And when I became a lawyer, there were 2 women practicing in the court. And now you go into a court, there are plenty. And I'm told in law colleges, the thing is 60 to 40, 60 in favor of girls.
Right.
So, there is a
You
huge
can take some
change.
credit for that.
So
I'm quite sure
no,
about that.
there's a huge change. But as we say, the mindset is not changing fast enough.
Right.
Society is not changing fast enough.
Right.
And many of these girls, when they get married, their husbands won't let them work or their families won't let them work. So that's where the difficulty comes.
Right.
That's why you have to see that the men are also very supportive.
Right.
I think, I succeeded only because my husband was very supportive. And my family also supported me in that sense. I mean, not that there was never guilt. I remember once my son Vikram said, someone told him, your mother's very intelligent. He says, I don't care how intelligent she is. She's never here when I want her.
Oh, I see.
I had gone to court. So when I came back and I heard this, I thought maybe I should give up practice. I had a guilt feeling.
Right.
And then I was thinking about it. And 3 days later, he said to me, thank God you work, Mama. You always talk about such interesting things, not just about the servants' salaries and their foibles and the vegetable price. So then I got my answer. It's like that. So it has to be the society must also support you. You know, your family must also support you.
Children and what they say really, you know, when you sort of look back.
Yeah, it's very
both of
important, you know, because, I mean, women also feel a sense of guilt because they feel they're the responsible ones. Now, men have to support, go to parent-teacher meetings if the wife can't go, if the mother can't go.
Right.
You know, they have to be supported.
Right. Any such moments from when the kids were young, Farooq Saab, and things that they said? I'm sure that they also said that you weren't at home enough.
I was so busy running around here and there with the politics. It's basically my wife who really has contributed to what my children today are.
Right.
She's the one who put into them what was right and what is wrong. And I think I should be grateful to her.
That is quite candid and honest and giving credit where it's due. Aarti, बात हो रही है कि society is not changing fast enough. कि कितनी भी लड़कियां चाहती हैं change लाना, लेकिन आसपास के लोग हमेशा उन्हें उतना प्रोत्साहन नहीं देते जितना उनको ज़रूरत है. आप तो बिल्कुल ground level पे काम करती है. आपको क्या लगता है gender inequality वहाँ पे कहते हैं सबसे ज़्यादा है, is among most. आप जैसा काम कर रही हैं वैसे बाकी लड़कियों को करने का शायद मन हो सकता है, लेकिन उनको मौका ही नहीं दिया जाता, उनकी आवाज़ ही कोई नहीं सुनता. क्या ये आपका एक्सपीरियंस भी रहा है?
मेरा जो एक्सपीरियंस है, पहले उनका परिवार लोग को उसको हेल्प करना चाहिए और उसको आगे बढ़ाने के लिए एक औरत को हेल्प करना चाहिए, तो तभी जाकर वो औरत आगे बढ़ेगी. इसीलिए जब भी मैं हमारा जिस सेक्टर में मैं काम कर रही हूँ, उस सेक्टर में मैं पहले एक एडल्ट एजुकेशन शुरुआत की, जिसका नारा हमने रखा है नो थंब इम्प्रेशन ओनली सिग्नेचर. उसी हिसाब से जितना 18 ईयर्स से 45 ईयर्स लड़की लोग है उसको हम साबालक शिक्षा आंदोलन में शुरुआत की और उन लोग को पढ़ाए. उन लोग को के लिए गवर्नमेंट को हमने जो इतना सारा गवर्नमेंट का आता है प्रोविज़न, उन लोग के पास पहुंच नहीं पा रहा है. ये एक मुख्य समस्या है. अगर हम लोग उसको हेल्प करेंगे और आगे बढ़ाने के लिए सोचेंगे, पहले सचेतना होना चाहिए, सबको ट्रेनिंग देना चाहिए. ग्रामांचल में जो ज़्यादा लोग तो ग्रामांचल में रहते हैं औरत लोग, उन लोग को तो सब ज़रूरत है ह्यूमन एम्पावरमेंट का तो इसलिए उन लोग को पढ़ाए. और स्मॉल इंडस्ट्री अभी हम शुरुआत किए हैं, क्योंकि जब तक एक इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट नहीं हो रहा है एक औरत आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएगा. ये एक मेन प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि अभी जो सोसाइटी है शहरांचल में ज़्यादा लोग वुमेन लोग एम्पावरमेंट हो गए, अच्छा सेक्टर में नौकरी कर रहे हैं, किंतु ग्रामांचल में तो वो लोग को अभी पहुंच नहीं पा रहा है वो सब चीज़. तो वहाँ के ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है. और मेरा ओपिनियन है औरत लोग को या महिला लोग को वेलकम करना चाहिए, उसको सेफ देना चाहिए और उनके लिए जो ज़रूरत है हम लोग को हेल्प करना चाहिए. एक औरत के लिए ही पहले हेल्प करेंगे तो वो आगे बढ़ेगी.
जी बिल्कुल.
हर चीज़ हम लड़का के ऊपर नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. अपना जो खुद का एनर्जी है इसको यूटिलाइज करना है और आगे बढ़ना है. हम क्यों लड़का के पीछे हमेशा पड़ते हैं, वो लोग को सब मिलता है हमको कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. हमारे पास बहुत सारे एनर्जी है, हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं.
चेंज द डिस्कोर्स रियली, जिस तरह हम इसको अप्रोच करते हैं, हमें क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है, नहीं हमें मिलना चाहिए.
मिलना चाहिए
जी.
हमको करना है, आगे बढ़ना है. मैं तो मेरा बेटी को बोलूँगी स्काई इज नॉट द लिमिट, फ्लाई फ्लाई एज यू कैन. यू आर वेलकम, यू आर वेलकम, यू आर सेलिब्रेट, यू आर सेफ.
Raghu Rai, one of your iconic images is My Father, My Son, which is a young child grasping his father's hand. If I were to ask you, what would My Father, My Daughter be? What is the image that to your mind will describe India's girls? And why isn't there a My Father, My Daughter, may I ask?
How I wish it was a daughter's hand. It will be even more tender and gentler than a boy's hand. But it so happened that a boy was my first child in the family. And the grandfather came to see him. And the way grandfather is cushioning these tender little hands, that goes more so in girls' cases. We love and we protect our girls more than the boys. My son thinks that this dad doesn't belong to me, he doesn't love me because he's always talking about his daughters.
Farooq sir, did you laugh because you identify with that statement? Does that happen with you?
I just remembered how I've seen on the streets, even if the sister is younger and the brother is older, you will still see sister with tenderness protecting the brother.
Right.
You will never see brother protecting the sister. You'll watch the street, you will see this.
Right.
And this I've seen constantly at times. It just shows. हमारे में कश्मीरी में कहते हैं कि भाई पत्थर है और बहन मक्खन है. Beni chai thun, the boy tree kun. The tenderness of the sister is like the butter, and the tenderness of the brother is like the stone.
I see.
That's an old saying in Kashmir.
But I don't exactly agree. I think that there are many brothers who take care. I must stand up for the men. I think that, there are many brothers who do take care. I mean, I know now, girls have equal rights with boys into their family property, in the father's property.
Right.
And, and sometimes the girls won't ask for it because they think their brothers will be unhappy. Sometimes the girls, if they don't get it, don't fight for it. But there are times when the brother gives it, even if the father has willed it all to him. I mean, I've come across cases like that, where the father has willed his property entirely to his son.
Right.
And the son said, you are equally entitled, you have a half share, and my father has made a mistake, I will give you half. So there are brothers
And there are brothers.
and there are brothers.
That is
So
heartwarming,
I think,
actually.
I think, we can't put a brush
Paint
across
everyone with
all men.
perhaps with the same brush.
I must say, I love my men, I love my husband, I love my sons, so I can't paint them
we
black.
all, right.
And I'll say for my husband, he's extremely supportive. There was a time when, there was a lot of, every marriage has some problems, and I said to him, I'll give up my work because it's causing a lot of tension. And he said to me, no, they're like two hands. One is your work hand and one is your family hand.
Right.
I can't ask you to cut off one. We'll adjust. So I think that's what men are about, and I think that's important.
Right. Maybe there are all those, the cynics would say that when we talk about women empowerment or, the issues around the girl child, there are lots of boxes that we often tick. But actually, are we really putting our heart into everything that we're talking about? How would you answer that?
Actually, I'll just go back to what Ma'am said earlier. It is just about, we can look at everything, girls' education, girls' empowerment program, more opportunities for, employment and all of that.
And there's no dearth of these programs.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what's really important and what she said earlier was that whole mindset change, because we really need to, as much as we work with girls, but we need to engage with boys and men, into the campaign, because I think just talking about girls' empowerment campaign,
women alone.
with women alone is not going to get us anywhere. And that is the change that we see that is happening today, but that is something that we need to do. The other thing that I would say, and we're working on this campaign, which is very simple if you go to see, it's all about encouraging parents to dream as big for their daughters as they do for their sons. And it's just as simple as that. That change starts, and then that change starts at every level, at home, at school, at workplace, at society, at every level. So that's how I would think.
I guess proof of the pudding is in the eating. We are engaging with the men. We have two very successful men here on stage with us, talking very candidly. That really is perfect. But Raghu Rai, if I could just ask you, it's almost a cliche now to say that when you talk about women's rights and gender equality, it's not about how you bring up your girls, but it's now about how you bring up your boys. But do you believe that that's a message that we've really taken out there beyond, a certain section of society?
The message?
Is really gone out there?
I think in educated families and urban families, there's a big change, for sure. The fact is that, first of all, I think, what is very important for a family, that to give sense of well-being to every child and treat them as equal,
Right.
And once they have that sense of well-being and awareness that they stand on equal grounds, when they go into the world, they demand that space. And then, of course, it's left to the big politicians and bureaucrats to make a difference on a larger scale in those public spaces, you know. And
आप छोड़ देंगे तो फिर रह गया सारा कुछ.
well, you guys have taken over the country now.
No, we all have to do that, not only politicians, every one of us. We must give them equal space, there's no doubt about it. But women have been left behind, there's no doubt. I mean, look, I met a person, not 2 or 3 days ago, and he has 3 daughters, and the wife was also there. I said, now 3 daughters is enough. You have to educate them, you have to do all these things, or it's not so cheap. She said to me, she said, नहीं ये एक और चाहता है करना कि लड़का पैदा होना चाहिए. That sense of ladka is still very much part of our society.
And that's what we've not been able
That
to sort
is-
of break out
that
of,
is
the
that.
mindset problem
And
that
I
Ma'am
told them,
mentioned.
I said, suppose it's a girl again, then what will you do? There was no answer. And they will always, the man will always blame the woman that she is the one who's delivering girls, never realizing that he's equally responsible.
Right, absolutely.
That is
In
the
fact, it is
tragedy
him.
that is taking place
Yes.
today, where many women are thrown out of the house, not realizing that they're not responsible. You're equally responsible for that.
Absolutely.
And that somehow has not gone into people as yet.
आरती, ये शायद आपका एक्सपीरियंस भी रहा होगा कि ये जो लड़के के पीछे भागना, ये तो अब जैसे आप बोल रहे हैं कि हमें करना है, हमें लेना है जो अपना है, हमें सक्सीड होना है, इसमें तो कोई दो राय नहीं है. दिस इज अंडरस्टूड, दिस इज नाउ डन, वी जस्ट हैव टू गो आफ्टर इट. लेकिन आई वुड इमेजिन कि देयर मस्ट बी कभी कभी बहुत फ्रस्ट्रेशन भी तो होता होगा ऐसी सिचुएशन को देख के. इट्स जस्ट नॉट
होता
चेंजिंग
है।
फास्ट इनफ.
पहले तो मैं सिटी में जॉब करती थी. जब मेरा जो सेक्टर में मैंने चूज़ किए है, मैं अपना सेक्टर में गई काम करने के लिए ग्रास रूट लेवल में, तो ज़्यादा लोग उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं किए पहली बार. वो क्या कर लेगी, वो तो शहर में रहती थी, ज़्यादा गांव में क्या काम करेगी. सबका दिमाग में ये आ गया, वो कुछ चेंज नहीं कर पाएगा. हमको बहुत सहना पड़ा और सबको लेकर हमको काम करना है, ये मेरा दिमाग मैंने रखी. और सबको इकट्ठी संगठन, उसमें सिर्फ औरत लोग नहीं थी, लड़का लोग को भी मैंने बुलाया और सभा की, उसमें संगठन की. चलो हमको कुछ करना है, आगे बढ़ना है. ऐसे अगर इतना सारा जो चीज़ आता है सरकार का, 29 का जो पावर है पंचायत लेवल में, उसको हम ठीक यूटिलाइज करेंगे. हमको किसका ज़रूरत नहीं है हेल्प का करना, सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट का पैसा को हमको यूटिलाइज करना है. और सबको शहर जैसे हमको हर चीज़ को शहर के लोगों को देखना नहीं है, हमारा गांव में हम कर पाएंगे. तो इसी हिसाब से हम गांव में जो भी ज़रूरत था, एडल्ट एजुकेशन हमने किया है, स्मॉल इंडस्ट्री अभी शुरुआत कर रहे हैं, और महिला के लिए स्वतंत्र जो होता है शौचालय, वो भी हमने पहली बार गांव में किया है. स्वच्छ भारत का काम भी किया है वहाँ पे.
एक सवाल, तो वो सब जो आप पूछते थे कि वो क्या कर पाएगी, वो लड़की है, वो क्या कर पाएगी, अब आपको देख के क्या बोलते हैं?
हाँ, वो तो धीरे धीरे मेरे साथ शामिल हो रहे हैं. अच्छा. वही बात है, जो पहले नहीं आ रहे थे जी, वो धीरे धीरे अपने आप, नहीं वो भी करना है, चलो हम सब मिलके आगे बढ़ना है, और चलो कलेक्टर के पास जाएंगे, काम करेंगे. ऐसे बोल रहे हैं.
But the underlying issue
जी,
is the utilization of your authority, your power, with the funds available and without any corruption. Then
Without
people
that.
begin to believe in you.
Yeah.
You see, this is the difference between the government and these kind of young people who've come into doing things, you know, for the country and for the people around them.
Right.
So
They do it
this
despite
makes a lot of
everything,
difference.
despite having
That
all
there
the
is
odds
no
stacked up
corruption.
against them.
She's committed. She's here to make a difference to
Right.
all of us,
Right.
and not just women also.
Right. Was
Right.
that your experience, ma'am, with all those naysayers perhaps saying, what is this going to do? What is she going to do? What is, what is going to be the legacy? What is, did you sort of...
Well, there's so many problems. When I was, I was asked to give an opinion in the matter, and the solicitor briefed me, and I gave the opinion, and the opinion was sent to the client. it was written XYZ company. So nobody knew who the company was. When it was sent to them, they sent it back to the solicitor saying, we don't want a woman's opinion. And the solicitor explained, no, she's a young barrister, she's done extremely well in the bar, she's very competent, but they would have none of it.
Wow.
And then so the solicitor had, so he didn't pay me. And the solicitor didn't know what to do, so he sent it to the senior most lawyer in the Calcutta High Court. But he sent my opinion along with it. And after 3 months, the senior lawyer sent it back with one line. I endorse the opinion of Leila Seth. Now that client had to pay 10 times the amount. I see. And but he got a male opinion, right. You see? Yeah. So it was as bad as that, you know. It was just not easy. Right. To get into the profession was extremely difficult. Right. Mr. Sachin Chaudhary, who later became the finance minister, I went to his chamber to join his chambers. He said to me, young woman, this is not a profession for women, go and get married. So I said, Mr. Chaudhary, I'm already married. Oh, married. You must have a child. Yes. So I said to Mr. Chaudhary, I have a child. Then he said, it's not fair to have one child. You must have 2 children. So I said, as it happens, I have 2 children. Then he was very stumped. He said, you're a persistent young woman. Come and join my chambers. You will do well at the bar. And then he helped me after that. But I'll say, you know, how much resistance there was even for you to join the profession. So it was a totally different story from now. So, I mean, I went through a great deal. And when I became a judge, once in the courtroom in Delhi High Court, I'm sitting in the courtroom, and suddenly I find a huge crowd of people have gathered. So I said, you know, to the reader, to the peshkar, I said, some new case has been allotted, or why has such a crowd come? He said, nahi, Charan Singh Prime Minister hai, उन्होंने लोगों को बुलाया है दिल्ली घूमने के लिए, तो वो ज़ू गए थे, तो उन्होंने सुना कि एक औरत जज है, तो आपको देखने आए हैं. It was like that.
That is truly priceless.
You know, it's
that
a fact, you know, and the zoo and the Delhi High Court very close to each other. So that's how it was. You know, it's not so.
You've spoken very candidly about the role of your wife and women in your life and just how important they were. But many would say, what is it? Why are men so insecure?
What? Pardon?
Why are men so insecure? Isn't that where it stems from?
That is unfortunate.
Pointing towards him only.
I think
Not at all. Not at all.
Sorry.
I wouldn't dare do that.
I think you see, I like to say, it is not making them feel insecure. I think the society itself has made them feel that way. And that, unless the society changes, that insecurity will not go. How much you might speak to them, make speeches, make laws in the parliament, and then they will dispense them in the courts. It's not going to change. The thing is, basically, the society has to start thinking that we have made them insecure, and we must take those steps whereby this insecurity disappears from them.
Right. I'm going to start wrapping now, but Nidhi, what do you believe is the one real thing that we can do to sort of bring about this change, which we all are complete agreement with has to be done?
Yeah.
We're not seeing enough of it on the ground. But what is the one thing that you believe we ought to do immediately? All of us.
You know, like just everything that we've been talking about, really sort of work towards that mindset change. Really work
Which
towards...
is perhaps the toughest challenge.
It's the toughest, but we have to address it. We cannot not address it. We can have as many policies, legal reforms, and everything, work on implementation of policy, but it will not happen till we really reach the minds and hearts, you know, and think of equality from that lens.
Right. Just before we end this, I want to ask everybody, the one piece of advice that you got, which you believe, that you got, not that you want to give, but that you got, and the one thing that you believe that you ought to have been told when you were 21. You don't need to think, but I'm going to ask you last. I'm going to ask you last.
Love women. And give them all that you can give them. That is one thing I've always believed, and I'll continue to believe till I go to the grave and meet the beautiful women that are waiting for us in heaven.
Right. Right. Raghu Rai, sir.
What do I?
The one piece of advice that you would like to give women today, and the one thing that you wish you had been told when you were 21.
सही बोलना.
देखिए, झूठ बोलना उधर का काम है, उन ऊपर वाले लोगों का. नीचे वाले लोग धरती पे जीते हैं. देखिए, no advice. Live abundantly and happily, no matter who you are, man, woman, child, girl, boy. If that expression is not there, your creative urges get blocked, then you are a dead person. So it goes for everybody. And when you say, you know, why men are so insecure, I tell you, I promise you, I have never ever felt that. Even my last girlfriend was ditching me. I said, I was pained, but I was never insecure. You know, these are two different things. So, you know, please don't use the same yardstick for everybody. Different men, different women, children, they behave differently.
Right. Fair enough.
And the advice I didn't get, I don't live life like that. You know. I promise you. I live in today, and I'm a very happy person with my daughters, with my friends, with relatives, with everybody else around me. So I don't have anything
That's
to
wonderful. Hope more people have no regrets, right? आरती, एक चीज जो आपको लगता है आप आजकल की महिलाओं को कहना चाहेंगी, आजकल की लड़कियों को कहना चाहेंगी जो आपके जैसा काम करना चाहते हैं?
जी, मैं तो अभी बोलना चाहती हूँ कि पहले मैं बोल चुकी हूँ, स्काई इज नॉट द लिमिट, फ्लाई फ्लाई एज यू कैन, यू आर वेलकम, यू आर सेलिब्रेट, you are home, you are safe.
Right. Absolutely. Nidhi?
You know, I would actually think that, I have to say that I'm so inspired by young people today, and, you know, young people who are into dialogue and discussing governance, democracy, gender issues. And I wish when I was 21, I had the strength and ability and confidence to be able to do that and contribute, you know, to create that society. So I do wish, and that is what I want to even tell the younger generation, that, you know, you can make that change. Don't look at others. You know, government will do this, or, you know, schools will do that. Right. You will make that change. Right. So that's what I would say.
Right. Ma'am, I'll give you the last one.
Yeah, well, what I would tell all the women here, you're going to have children or you have children. Bring up your sons like you bring up your daughter. Not the way, they say bring up your daughter like you bring up your son, the other way around. Bring up your sons like you bring up your daughter, so that they learn the tenderness which Mr. Farooq talked about, that you learn that tenderness, and they learn that attitude of giving, which is so important in society. You know, the moment you do service, it brings you so much joy. And that's why women are very happy normally, because they do the service in the house. And if the boys learn how to do that service, they will also be very happy human beings. So if you bring up your sons like you bring up your daughter, there'll be a much more equal world. Right. And I think that's a very important advice to give them. And on the lighter side, I'll say to the young women of 21, don't cross the road while holding a mobile. It's dangerous.
Yes. Reply to men and women.
Or take a selfie while you're at the ledge or something like that.
Absolutely, yes. Given now that we're the country with the maximum number of selfie deaths, that's just shocking, but just shows our obsession with that phone camera. But thank you all so much for taking out the time to speak to us today. Thank you very much. Thank you.